Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby bringing you a quick tank review, this time of the T-54. This is the Tier 9 Russian medium tank, and boy is it an absolute beast. To sum up this tank quickly, it's a very well frontally armoured medium tank which is low profile with poor gun depression and a very punchy 100mm gun. This is an absolute beast of a Tier 9 medium tank. It's an absolute brawler, and it really is one of the most powerful tier for tier tanks in the game. This is a great all-rounder, and the only thing that it lacks that I would like it to have is gun depression, but hey, you can't have it all. Let's take a quick look at its stats. We can see that it's got 1,650 hit points, which is fairly standard for a tier 9 medium tank. It's quite light, 35 tons, so you don't want to be ramming anything in this unless it's a light tank. It's got 700 brake horsepower, which means that it's got an excellent horsepower to ton ratio of nearly 20 when fully equipped. It's got a 56 km/h speed limit, which gives it a significant amount extra speed over, for example, the M46 pattern, which has a 48 km/h speed limit. Its traverse speed is wonderful, 48 degrees a second, so this is vastly more mobile than the E50 is. Now let's look at its very impressive armour, 120mm at the front, which is very well angled, 80 at the side, which is capable of bouncing small arms fire, and very poor armour at the back with 45mm. This tank has got a very good turret. You can hit the cupola from the front, but basically at range, hitting this tank in the turret is almost an insta-bounce with 200mm of frontal armour. The side armour is also excellent with 160mm, so if tanks think they can shoot you in the side, they better be hitting on your flush surface or your flush on your cupola. And the turret armour at the back is easily penetrated with 65 degrees, but the angling of the turret means that if they don't hit a flat surface, then it's really going to bounce. Really, do not underestimate the armour of the T-54. Frontally, as long as you reverse and you angle around about like this, and you try and get the enemies to shoot on your upper plate, you're able to bounce most lower tier tanks and some tanks of the same tier. This tank has got excellent view range of 390 meters, and its turret traverse is 44, which means that it's quick to aim at its targets. For my loadout on this tank, I like to use vert stabs, a gun rammer, and vents. Also, to maximize the maneuverability of this tank, I remove the speed governors on it. However, only use this if you don't mind raging once in a while when you get set on fire. There's one big thing that you need to know about this tank, guys, and that's that it has two different 100mm guns. Looking at them here in the tech tree, you can see that there's an optional 100mm and a 100mm that is on the way to this T-62A. They both cost 60,000 experience to research, so if you want to get this 100mm, you need to be basically saying that I really like the T-54, I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to spend 60 extra thousand experience, and I value this gun 60,000 experience over this one. To highlight the differences between the guns, this is the optional gun, and this is the gun that's on the way to the T-62A. So we can see that the optional gun has got quite a bit better rate of fire. It's got less penetration, 18mm with the standard ammo, but the same premium penetration. It's got the same alpha damage. It's got better accuracy of 0.04, and it's also got, now this is significant, much better aim time of 2.3 rather than 2.9. This gun, in my opinion, is miles better. If you're willing to fire a few heat rounds, then you can more than make up for the difference between the 219 and the 201, and you'll have extra accuracy, able to snipe at longer ranges, better aim time for your clutch shots, and a better rate of fire. I researched this 100mm, which cost me 60,000 experience, before I researched this one, because I knew that the T-54 was going to be a powerhouse that I was going to keep, and I recommend that you do the same thing. I must note that this tank absolutely excels with a few premium rounds for when you need to engage tier 10 tanks frontally. This tank has got 350mm of penetration with heat, which is so much higher than the 201mm with the APCR. With this 350mm, as you're going to see me do in the gameplay, you can make fun of some of the superstructures of the German tanks and come out on top in tricky situations. Still, this 200mm is more than enough to go through most tanks frontally of lower tier, and really you need to get the sides and the rear of equal and higher tier tanks to penetrate them reliably. So without further ado, let's take a look at some gameplay. So here we go. We're playing on El Haluf in my T-54. As you can see, I have a very funky paint job on this tank. One thing I will add is that I recently got a new crew in the T-54 and I'm training them up again. I did move my crew into the T-62A, and I thought that I was going to enjoy the T-62A more than I actually have. And so I'm actually inclined now to try and go back to the T-54, where I feel that the tier for tier, it's a more strong tank. So, I'm playing on El Haloof, and you see that I went down. I did not spot anything, and so I really wanted to keep the pressure up. As we can see there, we managed to weather the storm. One tank misses us, and the AT-15 hits our track. I really want to push the tempo and put the pressure on the enemy. Uh-oh, that's not good. Engaging that E-100 frontally is going to be very, very tricky without firing heat ammo. So as we can see, our WZ-120 has gone up the east along with the T-44. So I basically want a proxy spot. I want to try and allow my artillery, which you can see there are 4 of, to do some work. So there's a Yag Tiger on my left. I'm really not worried about him. I don't feel like he's going to make a move on me. And there we can see that was a heat round going through the superstructure of the Yag Tiger. I know I can fire 2 at him before I get a chance to... he gets a chance to shoot me. So I go back out and fire a second shell. Completely unnecessary heat round there on the lower plate of the Yag Tiger. But I really want to try and take out these tanks as quickly as possible. And as we can see, we've already got the E-100 taken out from our artillery. So now I've stopped loading heat and I'm back to regular rounds. Fortunately, we lose our ammo rack from the AT-15, but we put it back into play and we take a hit there from the Yag Tiger. Back to working the lower plate of the Yag Tiger with our AP rounds. We can see that we're in quite a tense situation here. The Yag Tiger donked a shot onto my outer track. I'm going to try and use my turret here and go sideways to be able to try and get a little bit more. But we hit the Yag Tiger's gun. So unfortunately we hit an angled surface there and we were unable to penetrate the Yag Tiger. But I'm getting good spots for my artillery. And we put another heat round there into the upper plate of the Yag Tiger before he went down. So as you can see, I make careful use of changing between AP rounds and my heat rounds in the T-54. Oh, that was a bit unlucky. This gun's usually more accurate than that, and that one was the 1 in 5 that goes to the edge of the reticule. And that was just a very poor shot. I really thought I gave enough lead, but the Lorraine 155 is a surprisingly quick tank. So we put one there into the side of the Tiger 2. I want to keep being aggressive. I want to keep spotting for my team. I feel like my artillery are doing some good work. And I want to keep doing work for my artillery. So there's the 2 Yag Tigers that ended up being taken out very brutally. Now we're going to do some work to this Tier 8 Chinese medium tank. I'm checking behind me to make sure I'm not getting flanked. He fires one straight at my gun. I no longer have a repair pack, but you can see there the excellent rate of fire of the 100mm. Accuracy on the move there, even with a broken gun, was okay. And I'm going to go and try and get behind the T-34. So we had the back of that T-34 too there. I think he realised. So he's decided that now it is time to attack. And we're going to finish this game off in style. Have some of that! I lost a lot of health, but I secured the kill at the end of the game. So let's take a look at some post-game stats. We can see that we got 4,130 experience for our double, as well as getting a patrol duty, a Confederate, and a sniper medal. We did the most damage in the game, 3,683. But we also did a very nice amount of spotting damage for our team, with 3,560. The T-54 can really go into difficult situations, and it can rely on its armor and its high DPM to get it out of them. As long as you can penetrate your shots, you can really brutalize most enemy tanks that you can meet. The accuracy of the gun is fantastic, the aim time is fantastic, the penetration is not amazing, but the DPM is incredible, and you can overcome the problems with penetration if you fire heat rounds sparingly. Here are my current stats for the T-54. I've played 236 games in this tank, and I can get about 60% wins playing solo. I destroy 1.7 tanks a game, and I have an 84% hit ratio, which is a very good indicator of the accuracy of the 100mm that I've chosen. It's not hard to be able to pull off 2.2k plus damage in this tank, it's just that powerful, and I average over 1,000 experience per battle. I prefer the T-54 to playing the Patton, and I also probably think that the T-54 is a better tank than the Centurion 7-1 for example. It's a different tank to the Lorraine, but I'd still rather be in a T-54 than a Lorraine for most situations. I've still got to play the WZ-120. I feel that the T-54 is faster and more flexible, but maybe the WZ-120 with its high penetration and alpha damage can come out better in some situations. I fully recommend this tank. You cannot go wrong with it. It's a very fun tank. You can play it like a brawler. You can really go in and have insane amounts of laughs with this tank. The frontal armor is completely troll, and if you angle it well, you can really make a mockery of tier 7 and 8 tanks, for example. If you want to see me play more of the T-54, then why not come and check out my live streams on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays. So I hope you've enjoyed this quite short review. If you haven't already got one, definitely pick one of these up, you won't regret it. And I would also recommend that for all T-54 drivers who eventually get the T-62A, think about keeping your crew in the T-54, it's that fun. As always guys, thanks a lot for watching, you've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.